On an entirely different role in a new CBS movie this Sunday. She plays a heroic flight attendant on Miracle Landing. It is based on the true story of the Aloha Airlines plane that landed in Hawaii with the top of its fuselage torn off. Ana-Alicia joins us this morning. That makes me nauseous a bit when you think of these people sitting there with nothing underneath them flying over those mountains in Hawaii. You had to do a lot of research on this, and one of it was going back to the stewardess who you actually portray. Her name is Michelle in real life.
Yes, yes.
Did you find that they were truly heroic, or that they were people who always were that way, or was it that moment in which parts of them came to the fore?
Well, that's exactly right. They were just human beings like you or I, tested in a crisis, and somehow they found the inner strength within themselves to be courageous and to take care of others. And they're pretty amazing people. I mean, that's why I was so excited when I met them.
Well, in that scene we just saw, your character was actually standing. Now, that was a key part of what happened. I mean, the death of the stewardess came because she was actually not pinned in with the seatbelt at the time.
Well, that's really important. There wouldn't have been as many survivors if people had not had their safety belts on. The only people that were injured, and the one stewardess who was killed, was because she did not have her safety belt on, her seat belt on. Now when I fly, you know, you keep it on at all times. You don't think, oh, it's silly, you know. It's very important.
When you fly now, do you really think about what happened? Do you look up at the top of the cabin?
It's crossed my mind. I think, you know, we just so carelessly look at the safety, you know, when they're going over the safety rules at the beginning of the flight. I think it's important to be aware. I also think it's important to know, in getting to know Michelle, the flight attendant, that their first priority is safety. It's not service. You know, we often get so angry, you know, when our coat isn't hung up for us, and maybe we've developed kind of a bad relationship, I think, you know, the flight attendants with the public. But I think you know, we owe them respect as well. I mean, in this particular instance, Michelle Honda went far beyond the rule books.
Does this movie go from what point? Before the flight itself?
Yes, it starts off a little bit with their lives, and it tells you where they come from and a little bit of their history. They were pretty remarkable people. I mean, this plane never should have landed. The pilot and the co-pilot did an incredible job with the concentration and working with each other, the trust they had. Michelle Honda walked to the front of the plane. You know, the winds were 450 miles an hour. A hurricane is 150 miles an hour, and put people's life vests on.
How is that physically possible, to walk at 450 miles an hour?
Well, it actually, to be quite honest with you, I think she started off on the floor, and she literally crawled on the bottom of the chairs, and people would help her by holding her down. It became a thing where people reached out to each other. They helped her, you know, as she tried to help them. And then as the plane started, you know, coming down and the wind started getting lower, she began to stand up.
And Wayne Rogers and also Connie Selleca as the pilot and co-pilot this Sunday. Romero, you have a film coming out actually in videotape that you did with Raul Julia?
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
Well, is that a real-life story?
Yes, it's a true story of Archbishop Romero, who was assassinated in El Salvador in 1980, and with the recent killings of the Jesuit priests and President Cristiani admitting, you know, military involvement. It's a very important subject. And
so why do I get the feeling that Ana-Alicia is only going to do things if they're somewhat docudramas?
No, that's not true, but I'd like to do things that I care about, and where people are, you know, heroic, like in these instances. They serve as such an example to all of us.
You know, we miss you on Falcon Crest. Everyone misses Melissa on Falcon Crest. All of you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Best of luck with Miracle Landing.
Thank you so much.